Have you ever lost something that you love very much? Something so precious that your heart feels like it is breaking into pieces. Sometimes life brings us a heavy pain, a pain that makes us wonder if God is still looking at us. But this story will teach you a big lesson. It will teach you to never give up. It will teach you that what God has planned, nobody can spoil. Our story starts in a quiet town in Ondo State. There was a beautiful family, Papa K and Mama Kem. They had one precious daughter. Her name was Little Kem. She was only 2 years old. Little Kem was the light of their lives. She had big, bright eyes. Every time she smiled, the whole house became warm. Papa K loved her so much. When he came home from work, he would lift her high into the air. Little Kem would laugh loudly. Mama Kem would sing her sweet songs every night until she fell asleep. They were a very happy family. Before we continue this touching story, please take 1 second to click the subscribe button to The Broken Calabash. If you love your family and believe in miracles, like this video right now. Thank you. One sunny morning, the family woke up very early. They were going on a big journey. They needed to travel all the way to Lagos for a family party. Papa K went outside to check his car. He looked at the tires and the engine to make sure everything was safe. Mama Kem was busy in the kitchen. She packed sweet bread, water, and juice for the long road. Little Kem was jumping up and down. She clapped her small hands. She did not know where they were going, but she loved sitting in the car. It was going to be a fun adventure. They packed their bags into the trunk. They locked their door. They were ready to go. The morning air was very cool and fresh. Papa K sat in the driver's seat. He held the steering wheel with both hands and drove very carefully. Mama Kem sat in the front seat next to him. She turned the radio on and soft music played. In the back seat, Little Kem was sitting safely. She looked out the window with her big eyes. She saw tall green trees passing by. She saw goats and chickens walking by the side of the road. She pointed her small finger at the birds in the sky. Every few minutes, Mama Kem would turn around to look at her baby. She smiled at Little Kem. Papa K was singing along to the music. Everything was smooth. Everything was perfect. But suddenly, things changed. Without any warning, a big truck came from the wrong side of the road. It was moving too fast. Papa K saw it. His eyes opened wide in fear. He quickly turned the steering wheel to save his family. But it was too late. There was a very loud noise. Crash! The cars hit each other. Glass broke into many pieces. The car spun around and around until it finally stopped near the thick bushes by the road. Dust flew up into the air like a big cloud. The soft music on the radio stopped. Everything became completely dark. Everything became completely quiet. Kind people who were driving past quickly stopped to help. They called an ambulance. The brave doctors took Papa K and Mama Kem to the hospital. A few hours later, Papa K opened his eyes. His head was wrapped in a white bandage. He looked around. He saw Mama Kem lying on the bed next to him. She was crying because she was in pain. Then, suddenly, they both remembered the crash. They remembered their baby. Mama Kem screamed loudly, "Where is Kem? Where is my daughter?" Papa K tried to stand up, but his legs were very weak. He held the nurse's hand. "Please, where is the little girl who was in our car?" The nurse looked very sad and confused. She said, "I am sorry. There was no baby in the car when they brought you here." Mama Kem started to cry like a baby. "No, my baby was in the back seat. She's only 2 years old." Even though they were hurt, Papa K and Mama Kem forced the doctors to let them go. They ran to the police station. Their hearts were beating so fast. They begged the police officers for help. Please, go and find our daughter, Papa K cried. The police drove quickly to where the accident happened. They searched everywhere. They looked inside the broken car. They looked on the road. They pushed the bushes apart to look, but there was nothing. Little Kem was gone. She had disappeared like smoke in the wind. Where was little Kem? What really happened to her? When the big crash happened, the door of the car had opened. Little Kem was thrown out. She flew through the air and landed very far away, deep inside the thick bushes. Nobody saw her fall. When she woke up, she was all alone. Her beautiful pink dress was torn. Her arms had small scratches from the thorns. The place was very dark and scary. She looked around, but she could not see her mommy or daddy. She sat down on the dirt and started to cry. "Mama! Papa!" she cried out, but nobody answered. She was just a small baby lost in a big forest. Not too far away, a woman named Farida was walking. Farida was a very kind woman, but she lived all alone. She had no husband and no children. She always prayed to God to give her a child to love. As she was walking down the quiet path, she heard a sound. She stopped walking. She listened carefully. It sounded like a small bird. But then she heard it again. It was the sound of a baby crying. Farida was shocked. What is a baby doing inside this thick bush? She asked herself. She pushed the big leaves away with her hands. She followed the sound of the crying. Farida saw little Kem on the ground. Her heart melted with pity. She quickly ran to the baby and carried her. "Oh, poor child," Farida said. She wiped the tears from Kem's dirty face. She hugged the baby tight. Little Kem stopped crying because Farida's arms felt warm and safe. Farida knew she should take the baby to the police, but as she looked at Kem's beautiful eyes, a voice in her head spoke. She was so lonely. She wanted a child so much. She thought God had sent this baby to answer her prayers. So, she made a very big mistake. Instead of going to the police, she carried little Kem all the way to her own house. If you are enjoying this story and want to know what happens next, please click the subscribe button to the Broken Calabash. It helps us tell more beautiful stories like this. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into years. Papa K and Mama Kem never stopped crying. They went on television and radio. They showed Kem's picture to everyone, but nobody had seen her. The house became very quiet. There was no more laughing. Mama Kem kept Kem's room exactly the same. She never packed the toys away. Sometimes she would sit on the small bed, hold Kem's tiny dress, and cry until her eyes were red. They thought their beautiful daughter was dead, but they still prayed every night for a miracle. But Kem was not dead. She was alive, and she was growing up fast. Farida gave her a new name, but let us still call her Kem. Farida loved her very much. She treated her like a princess. Even though Farida was not very rich, she worked hard to buy Kem the best books and the neatest school uniforms. Kem grew into a very smart and beautiful girl. She loved Farida with all her heart. She always called her mother. She did not remember the terrible car crash. She did not remember the bushes. She did not know that somewhere in the same country, another mother and father were crying for her every day. 20 whole years have passed since that terrible day of the accident. Kem was now 22 years old. She had finished her university school with excellent marks. Because she was so smart, she got a very good job. She became a worker at a big, shiny bank in the city. Every morning, she wore a clean white shirt and a blue tie. She sat behind a tall glass counter. She smiled at all the customers who came to put money in the bank. She was polite, and everyone loved her. Kem felt very happy and successful. She wanted to make Farida very proud. In that same city, Papa K was living his life. 20 years is a very long time. Papa K's hair was now grey. He walked a little bit slower, but the pain in his heart never went away. He was a successful businessman now, but money could not buy his happiness. Every time he saw a young woman walking on the street, he would think, my Kem would be this tall now. She would be this beautiful. He and Mama Kem still kept the small pink dress in their room. They had accepted that she was gone, but true love never forgets. One afternoon, Papa K needed to do some business. He took his papers and walked into the big shiny bank. The bank was very full that day. He took a ticket and sat down on a chair to wait for his turn. He looked at his watch. He was feeling a little bit tired. Finally, after 20 minutes, a polite voice called out his ticket number. Next customer, please, the voice said. Papa K picked up his heavy bag. He walked slowly toward the counter. He did not know that the next few minutes were going to change his life forever. Papa K walked up to the counter. He looked at the young woman sitting behind the glass. Good afternoon, sir. How can I help you today? Kem said, with her bright, beautiful smile. Papa K froze. He stopped breathing for 1 second. He stared at her face. Those big, bright eyes. That exact same smile. She looked exactly like Mama Kem when she was young. Exactly. Papa K's hand started to shake. He dropped his pen on the counter. I want to deposit some money, he said, but his voice was trembling. He could not stop staring at her face. Kem noticed the old man staring at her. She felt a little shy. Sir, are you okay? Do you need a glass of water? She asked. As she spoke, she reached her hand forward to pick up the pen he had dropped. Papa K looked down at her hand. Right there, on the back of her right hand, was a small, dark birthmark. It was shaped exactly like a tiny star. Papa K's heart beat so fast he thought he would fall down. His baby girl was born with that exact same star on her hand. It was impossible, but it was true. What? What is your name, my daughter? Papa K asked with tears rolling down his cheeks. My name is Kemsa, she answered. When he heard that name, Papa K started to cry loudly right there in the bank. He did not care who was looking. You are my daughter. You are my little Kem, he shouted. The other workers and customers stopped what they were doing. Kem was confused and scared. Sir, my mother is Farida, she said. But Papa K shook his head. He quickly called Mama Kem on his phone. The truth was finally coming out into the light. Mama Kem rushed to the bank. When she saw Kem, she screamed with joy. The mother and daughter hugged each other. They cried and cried. Later that day, they all went to Farida's house. Farida was terrified. When she saw Papa K and Mama Kem, she fell to her knees. Please forgive me, Farida cried. I found her in the bushes after the crash. I was so lonely. I just wanted a child to love. I was too afraid to tell the police. Please do not send me to jail. Kem held Farida's hand, feeling very sad for the woman who raised her. Papa K was angry at first. This woman had stolen 20 years of their lives. But Mama Kem looked at Farida. She looked at how beautifully Kem had grown up. She saw that Kem loved Farida very much. Mama Kem knelt down on the ground next to Farida. She did not slap her. She did not shout. Instead, she hugged her. You made a mistake by not telling us, Mama Kem said gently. But you saved my baby's life. You fed her. You sent her to school. You gave her so much love. For that, I can never be angry. I forgive you. And that is how the story ends. It did not end with police or fighting. It ended with love. Kem did not lose a mother. She gained two. From that day, they all became one big family. Papa K and Mama Kem were so happy to have their daughter back. And Farida was never lonely again. Remember, when bad things happen, God is still working in the background. If you love this beautiful story of forgiveness and miracles, please hit the like button. Subscribe to the Broken Calabash so you never miss our next amazing story. Until next time, keep love in your hearts.